Hey, sports fans. No, I'll try to do my best impression of Rob. What it do, what it do, what it do, people. WTP Sports Dudes on deck. My name, post game, yours truly. And I'm here with my man MossBurgh of Level Up Sports 10. Yeah, Florida State Seminoles preview tonight. One of the greatest programs in college football history. You can join us every Tuesday and Thursday night at 7:45 p.m., Saturday mornings at 10 o'clock a.m., and Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. My man Mossberg, what it do, homie?
Man, feeling good, man. Appreciate you having me this evening and giving me the good interview on these Florida State Seminoles. I love. It's been since 8 years old. People been asking me, am I from Florida? I'm like, man, it's just a love that I've had since I was a kid, watching with my dad, man. And I'm so geared up for this season that I'm almost looking forward to it more than my Cincinnati Bengals. Is that crazy to say? That's how much this season means to me. And for FanDuel say, if you tuned in, I gotta bet if we don't get the over, I'm wearing the Buckeye shirt for the Michigan Buckeye rivalry game this year. And people will think I'm a Buckeye fan just because of that. So if we don't get that 7-win mark, you say 6-6. I'm rocking Ohio State shirt, jersey, whatever you want me to rock for that game.
There you go. There you go. WTP Sports Dudes, Level Up Sports 10s, post game sports. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channels. You see it flashing right underneath me right here. Those are all of our channels. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe, go ahead and subscribe. You're missing the game if you're not.
Yes, sir.
I know you touched on it a little bit, man, but that's one of the questions I have for you because I'm really curious. You being a Midwest guy, you being from Ohio, how the heck did you end up a Florida State Seminole fan, my guy?
Um, it's crazy if my dad was on here, he would explain it even more, man. I'm sure his memory is just as vivid as mine. But watching Tommy Frazier against my Seminoles way back in the day, and prior to that, it was that seeing Osceola come out, being on that horse, dropping that stake in the ground. I just never seen nothing more exciting in college football than that. And that made me a fan. And seeing Deion Sanders at a young age, I was a defensive player. I like playing cornerback. I like being that type of guy that intercept the ball and do all those things. So it was more the merrier for me. And it was like a match made in heaven. I've always been a Seminole fan. I might not always wear as much Seminole stuff that I have on my Cincinnati side, but I definitely am diehard Florida State, man, from day one. I don't represent any other college football team. And shout out to my pops for sitting me down, watching some greats, Tommy Frazier, when Nebraska was doing their thing, back-to-back national championships, and when they played against my Seminoles. I really took heed to him so much more at a young age and just been a fan ever since. Charlie Ward, Danny Cannell, of course, prime time, work done, Peter Boulware, Derek Brooks. I can go on and on, man. It's just so many legends, Chris Winkie, Peter Wark, that you think about, Corey Simon, Simeon, and players that went on to play very well in the NFL and win Super Bowls. So when you talk about Florida State, it's in my blood. Born and raised in the Midwest. I'm a diehard Seminoles fan.
Okay, okay. I respect that. I respect that. So let's dive into it, my man. Your Seminoles coming off a disappointing year where they
Yeah.
go 2-10. Um, let's start at the defensive and offensive coordinator positions. Gus Malzahn, Tony White. What does what does those hires mean for the program? What kind of offense, what kind of defense are we looking at with these two hires made by Coach Norvell?
You're looking at identity first and foremost. I think, when you think about Florida State coming off of 2-10 season, there was no identity. not one piece of identity. Just my opinion. I feel like you've seen flashes of things from the start of the season. As the season progressed and came to an end, you've seen a lot of great players step up and play, and to continue to play throughout that tumultuous season, as I would call it, just thinking about it. So getting that identity. And we know when you talk about Tony White, you think of the mob mentality people don't know of, but that's definitely something that he's instilled since he's came to Florida State and been there, these last months. And along with Malzahn, he's a coach that's played against Florida State, but he brings in that run game. And the crazy thing is, I've watched the Auburn Florida State game, national championship, more than any college football game this offseason. And who's the coach of Auburn? Malzahn. And the running backs, we'll get to that as far as in just Malzahn. And I think the identity they bring to Florida State is something that we've been missing. And I think when you add that with Norvell, your head coach is only as good as what's there as far as his undercoach, his understaff, his understudy. So, bringing those guys in along with the other load, you talk about Terrence Knighton, you talk about Harris, you talk about Herb Hand. I think a lot of people, they don't give Herb a lot of respect, man. He's like Florida State up and down, Florida State through and through. He is Florida State. When you think about Florida State, you can't not mention Herb Hand. And there's a lot of other coaches as well that I would like to speak to. We'll get to those respective positions when the time comes as well.
All right, my man. I got to ask you a question before we get into your position groups.
Okay.
You guys bring back 0 starters on offense, 3 starters on defense. Does that worry you as a FSU fan? The lack of returning depth coming into the program? Because I know y'all hit the portal heavy, but does having so little returning starters, how is that going to affect your team in their play this season?
I think it's, and for me as a fan, it's kind of, what are we going to look like? That's that identity. And for me, I want to see what that identity is. We got this big game coming up, of course, but I feel like when you say Norvell, the guys you speak on after him, you're talking Gus Malzahn, Tony White, Herb Hand, as I spoke about Harris, Knighton, Johnson, Moss, Ernie Sims, who's a former Florida State Seminole, who's well respected. And when I say Ernie Sims, he's went on to have a great NFL career as well. He's played on some national championship teams at Florida State. And
Ernie
great players.
Sims, real quick, I don't mean to interrupt, but Ernie Sims was a dynamic, fast, physical linebacker. I used to really enjoy watching him.
Yes, indeed. And, when you mention that, I think having those coaches there to bring out the best in those few starters that we have returning. But if you think about when we hit the portal this hard, that was when we went through that undefeated championship season. We had a nice 14 to 15 go through and actually get drafted and play that NFL season. So, I'm optimistic, of course, when it comes to that, but I have high hopes, when you think about Ernie Sims, when you think about the coaching staff that's there this year, having the offseason to get that work in. And I feel like it'll be a step up instead of a step back. And, you'll have transfers that's played in places of Nebraska, Houston, Ole Miss. They've played all over the place, SEC, Big Ten. Those are power conferences, even the ACC for some. So when you bring those players in to go along with that, I think you're looking at all the possibilities, and you want to see that work that you put in the offseason come and be a big part of that as well as in the season also.
Okay. So let's get into your position groups, man. We'll start at the most important position in football, in my opinion, which is the quarterback position. You guys get Tommy Castellanos from Boston College, 5'11", 200, guy who can get the ball down the field, can definitely make some plays with his legs. Talk to the people about the quarterback position at Florida State for the 2025 season.
If if you think about it, Tommy was our kryptonite. Coming back home, I think not coming back home, but coming back to play for Florida State and where you came and was recruited heavily, I think that is a greater game for us than a loss because he come in, he know the system. You got to be that leader now. You went and led another team and you did wonders against us. So I think we know what you can do, but we want to see what you can lead this team into doing and how successful you could be. So for me, I'm definitely excited to see what he could bring to the table for us this time around. And I'm one of those guys that do some talking when I play sports, but I let it all go on the field. And I think the talking he's doing is triculating from the offseason we've been having. In those type of things, when you have a quarterback speaking like that, as a team, you want to rally around that. You have it's not that you don't have a choice, but coming from your leader, that sends signals through the team and let's go fight for him as well because he's speaking for us. Now it's time for us, to put on our boots and our armor and do what we do best. So I'm definitely looking forward to his senior season.
I know we're going to get into the schedule later, but what type of game do you see Tommy Castellanos having against Alabama on August 30th?
Everybody say he's been talking. I'm gonna say he's not only going to fulfill what he's been talking, but I think you're going to see a different mindset. Oh, and don't forget who's going to be at that game. You know who, Mr. Travis, JT himself. He's going to be at that game, giving him a lot of support and leadership. So it's going to be rocking and Dope Campbell. I feel like Tommy's going to come out and be the man that everyone thought that he couldn't be based on the talk they heard, knowing that we playing against the Alabama team. But I think you're talking about someone that's played in different conferences, someone that's a senior, and he's showing that he could be that leader this year. And I think, like I said, that shows a lot. And when you have someone that's ready to be that leader, you can have nothing but a high level of activity behind that. And not to mention, Kevy Sperry. I got to talk about Kevy. And that's a kid I like, our freshman, young talent, been putting in so much work this offseason as a freshman. He's been there for quite some time through this offseason and enrolling everything else. So don't forget the name Sperry. First name Kev, out of Texas. We beat him out for them Longhorns. So definitely looking forward to what he'll bring to the table too. So don't be surprised, even if you see a 2-quarterback system at times. And it's not to switch things up. It's just more of how great both quarterbacks are, in my opinion.
I think Rob asked in the chat, what would a successful stat line look like at the end of the season for Tommy Castellanos?
It's funny because this just came to mind as you saying this question. And I'm going to say 2,200 passing yards, 16 touchdowns,
Passing?
16 passing touchdowns with 6 interceptions. I
How
say
about
that's a successful stat line based on a run game that Gus Malzahn is installing.
how
And
about the Russian? How about the Russian stats?
that's a tough one. That's a tricky one, I would say, because we're talking about a transfer in Gavin Sawchuk from Oklahoma who balled out, who ate turf for breakfast, lunch, and dinner before he was injured over at Oklahoma, and they had a great run game, and now he's at Florida State. And we also have Roydell Williams, and then not to mention our sensational freshman stud, Kruma. I mean, I've been watching this kid from when we first popped up on the recruit list for him, and once they said he was coming, I'm definitely looking forward to him. So for the run game, I say you're looking at a total yardage of about 5 for Florida State. So that means the run game would have to be around plus 20, plus 2. So I'm gonna just say successfully. I'm gonna say the run game have to match the pass game for us to be
No,
keeping them
just
honest.
just Tommy's running stats.
Tommy,
Castellanos. Yeah, just his rushing numbers. What he look like? Does he get to 10 touchdowns?
do Tommy get 10? I'm gonna give Tommy 8 rushing touchdowns. I'm gonna give him 8. 8 is good for me because of the backfield. I
How
like 8
about how about
better.
how about yardage?
I'm gonna say, ooh, I would be putting him in Lamar Jackson's shoes at that point, and that hasn't been done since him. For a team to have that type of season, it would have to be a Lamar Jackson type of performance on the ground. So I'm gonna say 865, 865 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns, 2,200 passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. I think that's an honest senior season for someone that's played on both sides of the conference when you speak at the ACC, at Boston College, at Florida State. Um, I think he should be able to, successfully do that on the rushing side. If not the pass, and still be successful with that run game we got as well.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. Let's switch over to that running back room down at Florida State. It looks like Roy Dale Williams is your projected starter.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to the people, man. Let them know what Florida State is bringing when it comes to that running back position.
This running back position, this is probably the most filled our running back room has been in quite a few years. You speaking of Roydell Williams, everyone know what he brings to the table, and you talking about a back. Last year, people would say underachieved. I agree with the people, but I believe coming back this year with a stacked running back room, you have to prove yourself. Like they say, proving. What's the saying post game? Because I don't really deal with the court system much as some people, but proven guilty until But
Proven
for
you
him,
innocent
still
until
guilty.
proven guilty.
Yes, there we go. So for me, it's all prove himself this year. He just got to prove that he could be that back. Because when you talk about Sawchuck coming over from Oklahoma, and then we talking about Usman Kromah. If people have not, he give me work done chills, and we haven't seen that in ages. So if a running back does that at Florida State, you know it's something special about him, and I think that kid brings everything to the table. When you ask of all the running backs what they bring, he's bringing everything. You talking about blocking, you talking about catching, you talking about running, you talking about 6'1", 214 freshman growing. So for me, Roy Dell, he just have to be consistent, prove himself. Sawchuck just had to be that running back that he was at Oklahoma, even though the running back room is filled. And if Cromar come out and be that sensational freshman that we've seen of the past years of the freshmen on offensive side of the ball at the wide receiver position, and Rye and Smitty from O Block 4, there's going to be something special down in Doak Campbell building and brewing for the season as it continues to grow. So the running back room is full, and I definitely like what we have at that position this year.
For sure. Y'all definitely gonna have to be able to run the ball to complement Tommy Castellanos this season. So I feel that. Now, bro, let's switch to the wide receivers. Headed by Deuce Robinson, who I was very disappointed when my fighting Irish couldn't get him to commit and come to South Bend. But it is what it is. He goes to USC and ends up transferring to Florida State. Level of Sports 10, talk to the people about that wide receiver room and what you expect from them this season.
When you speak on Deuce, when you say you was upset that they couldn't get him to the room over there at South Bend, that speaks volumes because South Bend is in the top 5 in a lot of people's playoff endings. Some say national championship, so that says a lot about Deuce. And if we say Deuce, they're gonna be talking that like Staley back in Philly when he was running that football, but it's gonna be catching that ball in Florida State this year. I'm excited to see Deuce Robinson, a special talent, man. Some of the catches he's been making this offseason, spring ball, first scrimmage. And I told you guys weeks ago, I think it was about a month ago, Jaden Boggs, freshman stud, freshman elite, and he could be the type of freshman when it's all said and done to have one of those years in the ACC that we actually can remember. You talking about a huge, I mean, 6'4". I mean, I thought about Dave and Boston Bill when I seen Jaden Boggs. That says enough. And then Elijah Moore has quietly came into himself, big body receiver as well. Deuce Robinson, of course, 6'6", 222. Our wide receiver room is tall, big, athletic, freaks of nature, and NFL ready. And I think this year is going to be a year to where everything is fitting where it needs to fit. Last year, we really was unable to have players playing their position. Deuce come in, Deuce is able to take that number one position, and now we could place wide receivers in their position to where they're not getting too much attention, but enough attention to deal with what's going on throughout the game, signals, and things like that. And of course, we can't forget about our little fast guy, Squirrel White. I think this is a year where he'll definitely be able to excel, having Jaden Boggs, even though he's a freshman, being elite in what he do, along with Elijah Moore, along with Deuce Robinson. I think Squirrel White is going to be able to play a little bit of everywhere, reminiscent on how Percy Harvin did at Florida. In those years he played, they were successful. But I remember that one year, nobody expected him to play all over like he did when Florida had that young group with that senior leadership they had as well. So I think we looking at, even though we not returning a lot, I think the transfers that bring that leadership for Florida State. And when you're talking about Florida State, you're not talking about any other school, no disrespect, but the prestige, and this is Florida State. College football is not college football unless you're talking about Florida State, unless you're talking about Notre Dame, Ohio State, Michigan, Texas, some of the teams that we all like being in these categories of top teams, Oregon, Alabama, LSU, all those different teams. I think with all due respect, Florida State deserve to be in that talk as well. And I think this is a year where I have faith that we can turn that light on and shine bright down there at Doak Campbell.
Okay. I like it, man. I really like Big Deuce Robinson, man, and the matchup nightmare that he could be with
Yes,
Castellanos, especially in the red zone. And it doesn't matter how good your DB is, your corner, your safety. To deal with a guy that size is not going to be easy for anyone.
indeed.
So
Appreciate you.
how? Go ahead.
Nah, I was about to say I appreciate you just tuning in, man, and giving me this interview. A lot of people been wanting it. I've been spreading the word out, and see Mr. Durrell Drain chiming in. Just a lot of people that's chiming in. We appreciate you. A lot of the comments coming in as well. So, man, definitely, man, just appreciate you.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Smash that like button. We talking about the Florida State Seminoles and previewing their upcoming 2025 season with the homie MossBurgh of Level Up Sports 10. So the tight end position, my man, um, Randy Pittman Jr. That's supposed to be y'all projected starter? How do you see his role in the offense? Will he be used in the passing game down that seam, or is he more of a blocking guy? Tell us about the tight end room.
I think our tight end room is something that I think people is just going to really be tuned in for. Myself, I'm definitely tuned in. I think when you talk about Pittman Jr., the name speaks for itself. Big, like you said, freak of nature, 237, 6'2". And you got to think about when we had Bell. When we had Bell, the way Bell was able to shed blocks, still be effective in a block, but be able to catch the ball and make those type of runs after the catch. So with Randy, I think that's something we'll definitely be seeing and looking forward to out of him. But a name a lot of people they need to get hip to now. He's out of Florida too, as Amari Williams. He's going to be splitting that time too. And we talking about Gus Malzahn and that running. Gotta have two of them boys that could block, and these are two guys I'm definitely looking forward to see how they can put people on their backs when it come time for those blocks to happen. And I think that's something that all the fans as well is looking forward to. So for me, I think our tight end room is in good hands with Pittman Jr. and with Williams as well. And I think it only will get better moving forward.
All right, all right. So let's move to the offensive line, the big guys. Uh, Again, no returning starters. Y'all hit the transfer portal heavy, but can you speak to the people about the offensive line for the Florida State Seminoles this upcoming season?
Um, you're gonna see a revamped offensive line when you think of the transfer portal. A lot of people you have your thoughts. You know, we all speak on the transfer portal here on our show numerous times, even in our chat. It's something that's crazy, but when you get the right pieces in different ways, it can work. And I think when you speak on Luke, when you speak on Micah, you're talking about two seniors who's not only played in big games, but they've played SEC ball, they've played Big Ten ball, I believe, and just coming over, you're talking about they're not only known, but they will bring the havoc. So when you got those two transfers coming in, identifying who they are, along with the young core, a lot of people don't know who Andre is. That's Otto. He's definitely going to be a load of work this year moving forward. And then we got Mr. Nash Jr. A lot of our guys are young. Then we got the senior, Mr. Medley, that's definitely going to be out there too from Pensacola for us. So we got a young, but the transfers make it more of a veteran style offensive line, but trying to figure out what everything is. And like WTP Sports Dude said, he said Herb Hand is a solid O-line coach. And when you speak, like I said on Mr. Hand, Mr. Herb Hand, that is, you talking about Florida State through and through. And one name that's been ringing bells to everyone young, but the transfers. And speaking of the offensive line, his offensive line transfers, is Herb Hand. He's been very respected since this offseason has started at Florida State, along with everybody else. But they definitely has been putting their hand on Mr. Hand for the respect and what he brings to Florida State. So just definitely looking forward to the transition that we're going to have for the offseason coming into this 25 season with the offensive line as well.
So there's the preview for the offense for the 2025 Florida State Seminoles. So if you could pick one player that needs to have a great season on this offense for Florida State to get back to where it needs to be in the game of college football, who was that one player?
I think when you say who needs to, we know what Deuce brings, we know what Tommy brings. You know, you're talking about a young tight end room, but we know what they bring. And let me not forget about, I did forget one, Landon Thomas, Georgia boy. Don't forget about Landon Thomas in the tight end room. I'm looking forward to Roydell Williams. I think if Roydell Williams can start the season off, and I'm talking even the first drive, you got me going into the first drive, 13:56 on the clock. Florida State, 3rd and 6, across the 50, driving, Tomahawks going. Roydell Williams catching a pass out the backfield, picking up that first down, maybe 16 to 17, to keeping that drive going. Plays like that, and just Roydell Williams having a successful season. I think that's where it starts for Florida State. I think if he can get that ball from Castellanos out that backfield and make things happen, that makes way for everyone else on the offense to be scary. And when I say that running back room is something scary, go look at the film of what that running back room looked like. If you already haven't seen what we're doing in the offseason, I think it's a great thing that we haven't had a spring game. because everyone is worried about what Florida State is doing. As me as a fan, I'm totally tuned in and I know. So I'm bringing it to you and I'm giving it to you. But I can't give you everything. So it's going to make you want to watch every Saturday and August 30th for sure. And I'm going to remember 3rd and 6, Roy Dale Williams for 17 on the screen pass.
All right, I got you. I'm gonna hold you to that, my man. Um, I like that pick. I believe the running game is gonna be crucial to y'all success this season. But
Yeah.
let's switch over to the defensive side of the ball. You guys do have three returning starters, including Daryl Jackson Jr., the big defensive tackle who entered his name into the draft and withdrew, came back to Florida State. We'll start at the defensive line, Moss. Tell the people about Florida State's defensive line for the upcoming 2025 season.
I'm looking forward to the swagger, people flying left and right. I'm talking about people diving, where you seeing legs in the air. That's the Florida State that I'm used to seeing. You know what I'm talking about. That's a swagger. And we get Jason Jenkins back, transfer from Tennessee, finally in his healthy, excuse me, in his healthy start to a full season. And then, of course, Daryl Jackson Sr. Everyone is worried about Daryl Jackson Sr., and I think this is the reason he came back. He could have won the NFL draft. He could have been a first round pick. I'm for sure guaranteeing he could have went first round, but I think he came back for what he wanted to do with being a leader, being that senior, wanting to play with this team that was built that he came into as a freshman. And with Jenkins being healthy, then we got Deontay McCray out there. He's a stud as well. Tylon Lee, I think this Florida State defensive line, and Tylon Lee is a 6'4", 277-pound freshman from Pace, Florida. So don't forget that name as well. So when it comes to the defensive side of the ball at the line, I think that's the three names that I'm looking forward to hearing a lot, along with Jaden Jones. Is going to be one of those committee years where Daryl Jackson can actually play his position this year. And we're going to be flying around defensively on this defensive line. We're going to be stunting. We're going to be spinning. We're going to be pushing. We're going to be doing what Florida State is used to seeing. The fans, when you're in that stadium, what everyone want to see when they watch Florida State. I think we can get to that with everyone being at their natural position. And like you said, with the coaching changes, Tony White bringing that mob mentality. When you speak of Tony White, you know the defense is going to be something special. And knowing that everybody on that defensive line can play their position, but alternate as well. But the most important thing is being able to play that position and having Jenkins. Man, that's special. That's going to be something special. Hillman Jackson. I think you can't ask for a better combination. Along with we got some young players and Sampson, young sophomore. Also got Bracewell. So we'll get to that one. Went a little too far, but we'll get to him short.
For sure, for sure. Let's look at the linebacker position. You guys bring back Omar Graham Jr. Uh, you guys start three linebackers in a rover, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Talk to the people, Moss, about the linebacker room at Florida State and the type of impact you expect them to have this coming season.
When you hear Rover, that's them dogs barking. So when you got them dogs, I don't know what to say. You got the dogs, and that's what you want to have. I think in your linebacker room, you want to have some dogs that could come out and get after it. You want them to sit up, you want them to stand stout, and I think having this Rover is going to be a difference maker. You know, you got Herring, like you said, Graham Jr. is something special. I think he is going to be able to be himself this year. Last year, you had guys playing a lot of positions that wasn't their natural position outside of. So when you got the skill and the IQ, but when you going back and forth, and remember, this is a young team, but with these transfers, it looked like a more a well-oiled machine with the senior leadership that we've brought in. So with the players that we got coming back, they're able to play their natural position. And this is another one in Graham, that special talent. So you got to go along with him. You got Herring, who's came in as a transfer. Then you got Caleb LVL is what I'm gonna call him. LVL. I'm gonna call him Caleb LVL. He's something special. And those are guys that came over with Tony White. So they know what the defense is, the defense that's being implemented, but they can give that experience to those younger guys. They could give that experience to an Otto Graham where they like, man, what made you come over with, Coach White? They know why they came to Florida State and they know what he brings to the table. So if you add all of that in, along with some of the younger guys, we got Cryer, who's a junior. One of the guys I want people to watch out for is Cryer. He might be a junior. Then we got Ashton Bracewell, who's a sophomore for Florida. So starting to get back to that natural Florida ground. And when we have that natural Florida ground, we could be a dangerous unit in Florida State. When I say dangerous, I mean on the football field, nothing outside of the lines of that. But specifically this linebacker room I like, along with Blake Nicholson. We just got, a lot of young guys. And one that's young that I do want people to look out for is Jaden Parrish. He's young, but you talking 6'1", 223 as a freshman. That's a freak of nature. And once you get the work in and you just get that experience on the field, that's what I'm looking forward to. A lot of freshmen just getting that playing time. And when that's happening, that means a lot of things are going on well in Florida State also.
Let's go back real quick because Rob had a good question in the chat about the defensive line. Do you expect this defensive line to be more of a run stopping defensive line or guys who can pass rush and push the pocket?
I think this year, because I know we spoke on that, and when you speak about that, you make me think of the rookie of the year we just had over at St. Louis. Shout out to Jared Verse from Florida State University. Special. If we could get someone that's pushing that pile, pushing that line like Jared Verse did, I think it'll be special. I think Darrell Jackson could definitely change the game within the trenches. But when it comes to pushing that line, I think we got to watch Jenkins. I think Jenkins can be the one, I think as well, Jackson, of course. But if Jenkins can push that line, that's going to free up Jackson to be even more dangerous. So I think Jenkins, 6'6", 270, you pushing that line is going to do works. So I don't think we really found that guy, but I think we do have two of those guys. It's just everybody playing their position. We talk about next man up. It's just everybody playing their position, getting after it, that hunger, that swagger, the urge. It's necessary at Florida State, for sure.
Cool. Let's move over to the defensive backs. You guys return KJ Kirkland as safety. Some newcomers coming in from the transfer portal, some guys stepping up. Tell the folks about the Florida State DBs this season and what type of impact you expect them to have.
From the DBs, it's crazy because, of course, my battery is at 10%. I'm about to switch it over to my phone in a minute. But we had the one senior with Kirkland coming back. You got Kirkland, who is special. I think with him being able to play his natural position this year in the secondary. Then you got Jeremiah Wilson, who's transferred over from Houston, who's going to be our number one corner. Then you got Earl Little Jr. We know what Pops did, and he's going to actually do what Pops did at the college level, what he did at WTP Sports Dudes, Texas University, and carried it over to the NFL at Seattle and be doing that rover position. So I think that's going to be, to me, I think a little dangerous for opposing offenses because the skill set that he brings to the table. And then we got Quindarius Jones, we got Shaheem Brown, and I think it's just battle on top of battle in the secondary to where it's going to come down to the last couple of scrimmages to really figure out who's going to be that third, but you'll see all of them. You know, if you don't see one out there with that first unit with the cover two, something like that, you'll see them out there with the nickel or the quarters. You know, we'll definitely be running a lot of different defensive schemes to where people really have to figure out what's going on, just coming and attacking in different ways. And that's one thing that's been addressed, just being able to play a position and be able to have players to where you can make that cornerback blitz and linebacker blitz and be replaced and have the IQ to match up with what you're doing as well.
Earl Little 6'1", Quindarius Jones 6'2", Mr. Brown 6'2", KJ Kirkland 6'1". You guys got a lot of height and size in that defensive back room, man. But Rob had an interesting question in the chat with Tony White coming over and being the defensive coordinator. Do you expect more zone or man or mixture? Tell us about that.
I think it's going to be a mixture. With us really trying to find our identity, I think it's going to be a mixture. And the reason I say that is because I think the skill level we have to where Tony White knows what he has on the defense, but he want to see it in motion. You know, that first game, that first quarter, you're going to see a lot of different schemes that we possibly throw to not confuse ourselves, but, you know, to confuse the offense as well, but to see what this team is made of, because I think we definitely had a talent with the transfers and things like that to do what Tony White want to do with the defense and what he sees in this defense. He sees a lot of great talent. And like you said, the senior leadership coming over from Houston, when you see teams and you play against teams and then they have players that come over and join you, it's something special and something about you that they like and that they feel they could bring to the table. So I think just having him in that cornerback room with the DBs is something special. Shut down corner. I can definitely see him being at the end of the year, even though he's 5'10", 183, kissing me Florida. He's going to be kissing me in that end zone, Florida homeboy. And when we got them boys from hometown, I think it's always a good thing. Florida boys, Georgia, a little bit of Texas. I've been looking at over the years. That's when we good, and we starting to get back into that. Even, you know, with a little mixture of maybe a couple transfers. Outside of that, you know, I'm definitely liking what we bring to the table. And don't forget the name. Got a young sophomore, Jabril Rawls. Rawls is a raw talent, and like I said, that cornerback room, that DB room, you just don't know who's going to be starting when it comes to number two and et cetera by the end of this summer. It's just that crazy and that talented as well.
So just like I did with the offensive side of the ball, I'm gonna do with the defensive side of the ball. Name me one player who has to be the most impactful for your Florida State Seminoles defense to thrive this season. Just one player.
I think, I mean, I've been speaking about him since the end of last season. I've been speaking about him since the start of last season, all off season. It's up to Jackson. I think I don't want to necessarily put it all on his shoulders, and I'm gonna say too. Is it okay if I put two in here?
Go
I'm
ahead.
gonna just put two because of the senior leadership, and I say this is because it's Florida State as well. DB University, if you think about it, and I'm gonna talk my talk because Florida State got massive DBs, and we got them not only just educated, we got them in the league. Jeremiah Wilson. Jeremiah Wilson become that corner that we feel we brought him in the transfer. He came in and he joined Florida State for to hold down his side of the field and give people problems. Jackson is able to come off that line and not only just put pressure on the quarterback, but be that run stopper as WTP Sports Dudes acts about. I think that could be the difference maker in Doak Campbell to start something special and turning that ball over and getting back to that swagger that we used to and seeing that tomahawk chop as always.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That tomahawk chop. Look like we lost Moss for a second. Just give us a minute. He'll jump back in, and we'll continue this great breakdown for the Florida State Seminoles in the 2025 up and coming football season. There it is. Yes, sir. Excellent. Excellent. We all good to go?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. One screen just went dead. It's okay from the phone, from the laptop going out, but we good.
Yeah, we good. We good. We working. We working. Uh, so great breakdown when you speak about your roster in depth. Um, I know you're excited about the upcoming season, but let's get into the season, the season schedule. I mean, August 30th at home, you guys have to see the Alabama Crimson Tide. Tell us how that game is going to go. I know a lot of people are picking against y'all. I think Florida State is the great unknown when it comes to college football this season. Everybody are interested to see how y'all bounce back. August 30th, my man, Crimson Tide comes to town. Talk to the people. What happens?
I think when Alabama come to town, I'm respecting them when they come, man. I'm just put it straight up. I gotta respect them when they come to town. It's Alabama. It's not no slouch. It's not nobody that's not gonna come to try to get a win. But I'm taking my Seminoles, man. We gotta come out. We gotta come out strong, and we gotta come out and get this win to start the season. I think this is probably one of the biggest games in Florida State history. And if I think about it, man, this is dating back to, I know we played LSU in the past few years, but this is the biggest game in Florida State history dating back to uh man, like I can't think right now post game. This is a big opening game. And I think everybody's gonna be out. Jordan Travis is gonna be out. You know, you're gonna have some of the legends, Hall of Famers as well. So I think I'm definitely going with my boys in this game, even if it's a close one by a field goal. We're not going wide left or wide right. We're going through them uprights to get right and get up out of there with a win. That's it.
Okay, okay. I like it, man. And Castellanos been talking that heat about the Alabama Crimson Tide, and he letting them know what's coming. So we'll see. You got Bama, you got Florida State getting the W with Bama coming to town. September 6th, East Texas A&M comes to town. What happens?
I think we just stay geared up and we got to keep the boat churning. We got to keep it going. Florida State start off 2-0. If we get Alabama the first game of the season, coming into this game, we can't do nothing but keep pushing forward. We can't have no letdowns. We can't get out here look sloppy, even though the possibilities of it happening can happen. But we gotta zip it up like it's the wintertime and go out there and do what we do, man. Make sure we good. Get the
Yeah,
win.
no doubt, no doubt. Y'all get the W against Bama week one. Y'all definitely be riding a lot of momentum. Um, so y'all get a bye week after those two games, correct? And
Yes,
then
sir.
September 20th, Kent State comes to town. How does that game play out?
I think after a bye week, come right back on top of it, man. This is Florida State. You start the season, and I'm not, I still got on mine a point 0.5 with the Alabama, respectively. Let's not get that misconstrued because I know everybody probably got it point 0.5. I'm saying we gonna win, but respectively point 0.5. So I'm saying we come back, we get another win. You know, you can't come out beat Alabama and not continue to churn them buckets and keep them legs running.
Okay, okay. So 3-0. September 26th, y'all first road game. Y'all go to Virginia. How does that game play out?
This is a early, what do you call them? Chalkboard. You call them creepers. You call them trap games. I think we get Alabama that first game. I think this is a game that could be a trap game. Playing at Virginia, Virginia have a lot returning. Virginia is a team you have to respect in the ACC. They have given us trouble in the past. They've beat us in the past. So, respectively, it's point 0.5 on my schedule because it's at Virginia. But respectively, post game, you know what I got to do. This is MossBurgh you're talking to. I'm respectively at a point 0.5 right now, but we getting this dub. I got us 4-0, but I have us respectively 3.0 with them 2.5s.
Okay, okay. Okay, I can dig it. October 4th, the U comes to town against Florida State. A lot of people have Miami as a top 10 team coming into the season. How does this game play out, Moss?
This is a big rivalry. This is a big year. Um, you're talking about the one thing I do like is players that's coming in on our side of the ball. I've seen this quarterback for a couple of years. So they might know a lot of his tendencies. And that's the thing that I think fares well for us in a lot of ways with some of our schedule is some of our players that we have coming in know tendencies of these other teams like Alabama, different players that we have. So it's a point 0.5 on my schedule, respectively. But man, whew, we at home. We get the win.
Okay,
Mad
okay.
love to you, KT. Shout out to my man KT and your Miami Hurricanes, man. I got a point 0.5 respectively, but I got my nose churning the pot. And in my eyes, I'm not being biased with 3.5, but we 5-0 because this is MossBurgh with a 3.5 on the over and under, but a 5-0 in his eyes because this is after that Alabama kickoff win.
You did. So y'all back at home the following week, October 11th. Pittsburgh comes to town. How does that play out?
I think this is a bit, this more so for me. I think same way as in that Miami game, we got to stay stout defensively. We got to do things to throw the quarterback off. These are two teams that have two great quarterbacks um, coming from playing Miami and Beck, and then respectively Pittsburgh sophomore sensation that they see him as and that he can possibly be. We do have to respect who we playing against, and if we come out slouching in any kind of way, their defense can be tricky. Pittsburgh got a great defense, so we definitely got to be careful with Pittsburgh's defense. So I got this one, of course, being at home. I got my Seminoles winning with a one flat out. There's no point 0.5. Shout out to my boy Raheem Bowes and that defense from the hometown of Columbus, Ohio, and then his buddies that's in that defense as well. Shout out to those guys.
My bad.
Nah, you good. But yeah, I just got us winning on that one. And I was just like I was saying to the people, man, shout out to my guy Raheem Biles, man. Been watching him play since little league, man, and watching him continue to grow. Now you playing on the college level, and soon you'll be in the NFL, Mr. Biles. So shout out to you. But my Seminoles get this win at home against Pitt.
Okay, so now y'all travel October 18th to Stanford, who I don't believe anybody believes they'll be a threat this season. How does this game play out?
It might not be a threat, but you can't go slipping at Stanford, especially late night. You go out there late night, you done already got you some good grub.
You done had breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You feel me post game? So you gotta be careful with this one. But respectively, I got my Seminoles winning. Um, I think the environment would be different with it being so late of a game. That's the one thing I want us to be able to not come out sluggish in any kind of way, man. We got to come out still moving, even though it might take a little bit with the atmosphere and things like that. But we gotta be stout, cleats up, trenches moving. A game where the offense should be able to pass the ball. This will be one of them games where Castellanos should be able to show who he is, maybe show us a Heisman moment even.
Ooh,
So
Heisman moment. Okay, okay, okay. All right.
you heard it here first. I'm just saying it slipped out, but I don't know if it was. Hey, I'm gonna just say what I say, and you can run it back at the end of the season because it is a possibility. As KG said, anything is possible.
Now that's for sure. That's for sure. So November 1st, y'all back at home in Florida. Wake Forest is on the schedule. How does this game play out?
Wake Forest, again, man. This is a team that plays Florida State tough, like the Virginia team over the past few years. I think we're a team that can come out and we can't slip up. I got this as a point five. Um, I don't know why, but I got it as a point five because I think it's a trap game. This is a team we've lost to before when we was moving in a different way, and they shocked us. And I think it was by a field goal that year. So this is a team we definitely got to be careful with, especially at this juncture in the season when we got that back end of the schedule coming up. So I got it as a point five, but I got it as a win.
Yeah, I can see that because the very next game, y'all headed down to Clemson or headed up to Clemson
Yeah.
uh, on the road, November 8th. You guys travel to Clemson, MossBurgh. A lot of people are picking Clemson to be elite, top four, maybe the best roster in college football. We'll see. How does this
Post,
game play out?
post game. Why we sit here, WTP Sports Dudes, could you please do your research on this? And this gonna break a lot of people's. I don't, I'm gonna just say we joke a lot. You step on a crack, you break your mama's back. But this gonna break some backs when I give you the historic history on this one. We went to Death Valley years ago. Everybody had us as underdogs. You know what I'm talking about, post game. What we go in Death Valley and do. Go check the facts, WTP Sports Dudes. And what did we do that year? And did we come? What was we in the top 25 to start that year? Go check them facts out for me, WTP Sports Dudes. Then get back at MossBurgh, and then we could talk to the people more about that. But I got a feeling, even though I got a point five, I got us at the point five. I'm just being honest. Sometimes I think that we might not, but I got it at a point five fairly, man. This is the game I got at a point five, and I'm gonna keep it that way because it's a tough place not only to play. We know what Dabo he's done. He went in the portal finally, and we respect what he did last year, going through getting in that playoff when nobody thought he would. So Dabo actually runs the ACC now. People got to forget, got to remember that since Bobby Bowden, left the ACC. Rest in peace, my Bobby B. It's been Dabo's way. So you got to go through Dabo and Death Valley to get to the top of the ACC. And when you talk of Florida State in redemption year, I'm gonna leave it at a point five because this is a year that we got to go through Death Valley to get to the top of the ACC. That's a game that I got marked on my calendar. I'm not answering my phone. I don't want nobody calling me, nobody texting me, no nothing.
No, nothing.
Nothing.
I
Might not
feel
even
that.
get a post game out of me till the next day on Sunday morning. I might call in and go to work because if it didn't go my way, I don't want to hear nothing. I'm gonna need a day off of that.
I understand, sir. So November 15th, you guys are back at home against Vatek. You guys get the victory.
again, man, this is, I think the one of the most brutal parts of this schedule is this back end. And our schedule, I think a lot of people don't realize how tough our schedule actually is this year. You know, it's we got to prove ourselves for one, and we in a position to do that. But if you look at this schedule, it's a tough schedule to prove yourself, especially after a bounce back year, coaching changes. I think we at home, man. We celebrating. I think we got to win games at home to get that swagger back. When you lose at Doak Campbell Stadium, it's something's not right. So it's only fair to say we got to start the season right and be here in November 15th, even though I got it as point 0.5, but getting a win against Virginia Tech. So even though I got it as a point 0.5, I got us getting a win against Vatech.
Okay, okay. Uh, on the road again, November 21st. You guys travel to NC State. How does this game play out?
Man, this is a bigger trap game than I think the Virginia game because if you think about NC State, I think about it's crazy. I think about when Russell Wilson. Think when Russell Wilson got us. I think it was another quarterback they had to get us. I want to say Philip Rivers. Is that did he come from NC State? Philip Rivers got us. So thinking of games like this, 8 p.m. prime time, ESPN. I think about all that stuff, and it's a game. Of course, I feel we could get, but I respectively, it's at North Carolina State. We don't know what they're gonna be looking like at this point in the season. I gotta respectively give it a point 0.5. At night, at they have the advantage being at home, I feel. We have to prove ourselves again. Like we in a position to where every game we go on the road, it's still like a home game because we got that target on our back. So every game is like a home game, in my opinion. It's just that we got to prove ourselves even more.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Then you guys end the regular season November 29th at the rival, the Florida Gators. Now, this is an interesting team, Moss, because there's a lot of concern about Lagway's health and if
Yeah.
he'll be able to make it through the season. Uh, if he doesn't, I don't believe Florida will be the team everybody expects it to be. But if Lagway is healthy, Florida can be a big threat in the SEC as well. So November 29th at the Swamp, what you got for us?
You just said it in a nutshell, man. If Lagway, if they don't have Lagway, no way. Gators win. If they have Lagway, I'm gonna keep it at a point 0.5. It's gonna be at a point 0.5 until I know they don't have Lagway. Nothing against whoever they have backing up, but I think it's an advantage for us because that skill that he brings with his athleticism, I think we could prepare for someone else more so than we can prepare for, Lagway. Preparing for Lagway is that's a notebook. You could prepare for someone else that's not maybe been in that type of atmosphere. This is a rivalry game. You could just go after it. You could go. Lagway, you can't. He's capable of burning you out that pocket or just moving his feet and finding an open man. So point 0.5 respectively. Definitely at point 0.5. But I think we can get the win, man. I think we can get the win. We owe Florida one. They got it in our butt last year at home. So I think it's only right that we get right on the road at Florida this year. Go to the Swamp and show them we gonna put the stake in the ground, and we ain't gonna do what all these other teams do with the rivalry. We just gonna try to get the win and keep it moving. That's something too. I hope we get off of doing, man, all this craziness with the rivalries. Just win the game, go and celebrate in your locker room respectively, and all the extra should be saved for another day.
All right, I can feel. I feel that. I feel that. So, final regular season record prediction, and does Florida State Your Seminoles, Moss, to get back to the playoffs.
So what I'm looking at is 1, 2, 3.5, 4, 5.5, 6.5, 7.5. Looking at 8 right now on my paper. I just think about that because they say 6-6. And I really be laughing at that because I respect him. I'm gonna give my Seminoles 8 wins this year. I think I said 8.5 prior to, but if I tally everything up, I believe I'm at 8. If I'm doing this right on my paper. Help me out.
So,
Help me out,
so you going,
WTP Sports
so
dudes. I
you
believe it's
going,
8.
so you going 8 wins, possibly 9.
Yeah, 8 wins, possibly 9. I mean, this is a tough schedule to me, and I
Oh
gotta
yeah,
respect. I gotta respect Clemson. I gotta respect Florida. Gotta
yeah,
respect Miami. Gotta
yep,
respect North Carolina State.
yep.
One team that as well as Alabama, of course. Um, One team I look at, also Virginia. Like it's a tough schedule, but I'm glad we don't got Georgia Tech on this schedule this year, man.
True,
So
true.
that's one
So
team I was. They're gonna be a tough team, I think, man. Just know what
oh
they
yeah,
have. That
yeah.
senior
Tech,
leadership.
yeah.
Yeah,
Tech gonna be a tough out for anybody. So you don't believe Florida State can get to the playoffs this season?
playoffs,
You calling playoffs at 9-3?
playoffs at 9-3. Even and I try not to do this bias, man. Like I'm you can I'm Florida State through and through, man. But Post, man, you never in your life seen Florida State 2-10. You never heard of Florida State 2-10. I was crying last year. I ain't even watch a couple of games. I listened to them on my phone and watched them in a game cast. I've never done that with my Florida State Seminoles. So for me, it's the bounce back. This that get back. Summer Madness 25. I've been hashtagging that. We on to something different, man. And at Florida State this year, I feel like, and it started with getting that new identity. And since that new identities came in, new stadium has been built, renovations is happening. So when all of these things are in place, then you get a top-notch quarterback to come in, and he's on campus, suiting up, playing the first year, along with defensive players. It's going to be their first year, along with offensive players making big names and big plays for themselves. And like I said, man, remember the name Jaden Boggs, man. Just remember the name Jaden Boggs, man. That's all I can say. Like, I know it's a freshman, and we talk about freshmen, and that's the reason I say that on the offensive side, because we speak about a lot of freshmen on that offensive side of the ball, especially at the receiver position. So just remember Jaden Boggs. Again, I said it. So along with everybody else, man, respectively, Deuce, Costos, and Roy Dale, everybody we have returned in Jackson, man, I think it's just going to be a whole different identity, intensity, swagger, whole different Florida State University this year.
Well, you heard it here first from the man MossBurgh of Level Up Sports 10. Florida State Seminole Nation. You heard it here from the man. Y'all gonna turn things around this season and have a bounce back year. Nine wins, possibly more in a playoff appearance is the prediction from Mossberg. A
Yes,
lot
sir.
of turnover, a lot of transfer help. Castellanos coming in. It could be a glorious rebound for the Florida State Seminoles.
Yes, sir.
Got anything else you want to share with the people before we get out of here?
Low post, mid post, high post. That's post game, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you hit that mash button on post game, man. Check out some of the videos he got, man. He be brewing up something special, and I'm not talking about a tea. I'm talking about cooking up on that post game 86 channel. Post game, he does so much as well as everybody else that you see at the bottom. You got myself, Level Up Sports 10. You got FanDuel Zay in the building. You got Parlay Poe of Blitzburg, and you got the man that put it together, WTP Sports Dudes, or WTP for life. We call him No, as Jimmy Jam said, because it's a lot of knowledge behind it. So we respectively call him that as well. So man, just excited to come in and get this good season preview out there, man. So if y'all out there, man, we on the Facebook page as well. Make sure y'all go check us out. Level Up Sports. It's the same as you see on the bottom. We on the Facebook page. Follow, like, share that page. We trying to get as many comments and bring different shows to y'all on that as well. Other than that, man, just stay locked in and stay tuned for everything we got coming. If you got an NFL team, let us know. We could bring you on. We could talk that talk with you as well. I spoke to a Bears fan the other day. Looking forward to hearing from you and getting you on here. That'll be our first, I believe, maybe second Chicago Bears talk. So it'll be something interesting that we looking forward to as well. But anything that you got to say post game?
Yeah, as we get out of here, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in. I want to thank the homie MossBurgh for letting me conduct this interview with his team. And if you out there, like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when we dropping heat, because that's all we do is drop heat. This is the best up and coming show on YouTube, and I stand on that. And we're gonna
Yes, sir.
continue to do what we do. And if you don't got nothing else, Moss,
We got that Miami Hurricanes on Tuesday night, 7:45. Them Hurricanes got that talk coming for them. So make sure y'all stay tuned in every day of the week, man. Not just any day, every day. Because we on our pages, we posting, we making shorts, we making videos, we dropping everything, man. And we do it because it's love. We love what we do, man, and it's for the people, man. So if you want to get on and you got something that you want to talk about with your team, respectively, man, we all for it. We welcome you, and this is what we do. Papa Whitmore, man, shout out to you, man. We appreciate you always tuning in. WTP Sports Dudes, we see you. We appreciate you, Mr. Donnell. We appreciate you as well tuning in. We see you in there. I said I ain't got too much else to say, man. I'm excited for the season, man. I've been excited for this football season more than a little bit.
all right, I feel you. We gonna see. Will be here in no time.
Yes, sir.
All right. If there's nothing else,
Peace, as we always say.
There we